What's up, guys? Welcome to lesson 3 for dividing rational numbers. Let's do it. So here it says find the multiplicative inverse of 19. What does that mean, multiplicative inverse? It means find whatever number times our original number gives us 1. And the easiest way to do that is you just literally you do what's called, you take the reciprocal. So this would be, you take, right now 19 is actually 19 over 1. Don't forget that. It's always a fraction if we need it to be, any whole number. And now we just flip it to get the multiplicative inverse, and that's 1 over 19. And we know that's true because if we multiplied this by 19 over 1, right, we'd end up getting 19 over 19, which equals 1. So actually 1's not our answer. 1 over 19 is the multiplicative inverse. Now let's look at this guy. Negative 10 and 3/5 divided by this number. First thing we do, just like in multiplication, let's make these guys improper fractions. So 10 times 5 is 50. Now I'll tell you something too. We got a negative and a negative. Whether it's division or multiplication, those guys cancel out. So this is going to be positive. Let's just forget the negatives. So we got 50 plus 3, that gives us 53 over 5. And now we've got, I'm going to convert this first up here. We got 2 times 5 is 10, which means we got 12 over 5. Very nice. But we don't stop there because we turn this division problem. All division problems with fractions much easier if we convert it to a multiplication. And how do we do that? We can't just multiply willy-nilly. We got to multiply by the reciprocal of that fraction. So again, 12/5, or the multiplicative inverse, whatever you want to call it. 12/5 becomes 5 over 12. Now look how nice this is. If we want to cross simplify, we can divide the 5 and the 5. Again, it's one big multiplication problem. The 5 and the 5 by 5. This becomes 1. This becomes 1. And then we end up with 53 over 12. And if we want to simplify this, we basically divide. How many times does 12 go into 53? 4 times. So this ends up being 4, and what's remaining, because we got 40, we pulled 4 12s out of this, and we got 5 left. So our final answer is positive 4 and 5 12s. Okay, now let's look at this problem. There's no values for these variables. We just got to go for it and try and simplify. First thing we got to do, again, convert the division to multiplication. First part stays the same, m over np times, and then we take the reciprocal. 2p goes to the top, and 3m goes to the bottom. Now what can we do? We've got this nice thing. What can we divide by where we can cross some common things out? Well, we got a p here and a p here. If we divide both these terms by p, remember p over p is just 1. So we divide this by p, and that goes to 1, basically gone. P divided by p here is 1, gone. And we're also, another way to think about this is just crossing off the same terms in the top and the bottom. Well, look, we got an m here and here. Those are all gone. What are we going to end up with? We're going to end up with a 2, see 2 on the top and 1 in the bottom. We've got a 3n, like this, and there you go. Now let's go on to the final 2 problems. We got a word problem. Here we go. Don't be intimidated. Barbara babysat for 3¼ hours and earned $19.50. What was her hourly rate? So we got to divide this total number by the number of hours that she worked to get the hourly rate. So we got 19.5. That 0 there, we don't need it. Doesn't matter. Over 1. Okay, divided by 3¼ I'll write it out like this. But before we put that in there, always convert to an improper fraction. 3 times 4 gives us 12. We add that to the numerator. 12 plus 1 equals 13 over, and keep that denominator the same. But we're not going to do it like this either. We're going to have to turn this into multiplication and flip this. But the thing is, in this case, we got kind of a weird problem because we got 1950. I mean, we can leave that, but I don't really like decimals too much in my fractions. It's a little bit crazy. So what I'd like to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and multiply the top and the bottom here by 2. Because I know 2 times 1.5 is going to give us a whole. Look how much better this will be. 2 times 19.5 gives us 39 over 2. So much better. And then now we're going to turn this into a multiplication problem, right? And try it out in your calculators if you or on paper. 2 times 19.5 gives us 39. I'm just thinking of any way to get rid of that decimal, and that's what I came up with. Times, we take the reciprocal of this. We got 4 on top, 13 on the bottom. Now this is really nice because 13 and 39 are both divisible by 13. 13 divided by 13 is 1. 39 divided by 13 is 3. And what about 4 and 2? Divided by 2 is 1. Divided by 2 is 2. Now we multiply across. Super simple. We got a 1 in the bottom, so that is just whatever. 3 times 2 gives us 6. 6 over 1 simplifies to $6. So she was making $6 every hour. Finally, let's do this one a little plug and chug. So we've got, remember, fraction, division symbol, same thing. So we can rewrite this as m divided by n, right? And now we plug in these values. We got 2 and 2/5 divided by -3/10. But before we write anything, let's convert these to improper fractions. Make life a little easier. 2 times 5 is 10, and that one's good to go. 10 plus 2 is 12 over 5 divided by 3/10. Now I don't care about the negative because we know this is going to be negative. We got one negative in the mix, an odd number of negatives in the mix. It's going to contaminate everything. So this final answer is going to be negative. We'll worry about that at the end. Now let's go ahead and convert this to a multiplication problem. 12/5 times 10 over 3. All negative. I'll keep the negative there to remind myself. Now let's cross simplify. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. What about 3 and 12? Both divisible by 3, so that 3 becomes a 1. That 12 divided by 3 is a 4. So let's multiply out. We got 8 over 1, or simply 8. And our last step, we bring that negative down. This gives us -8, and done.